Welcome in. I am the Crypto Bull God, and this is all in the charts. If you appreciate the content, make sure to hit me a thumbs up. Hit me a thumbs up button? Hit the thumbs up button. Drop me a comment. Subscribe to the channel. You gotta click the bell icon for notifications to know when I go live, such as a few minutes until 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope everyone is having a nice week. This week is flying by. We are literally approaching the middle of June. I've just started to become accustomed to the idea that it's the year 2023, and we are nearly halfway through the entire year, which is crazy. And I'm thinking about all the TA videos I want to get out there. I have so much work to do to get additional videos out there. That's what's striking me right now. Make sure to hit the thumbs up for support. I appreciate everybody tuning in today. You know, I had, if you're following me on Twitter here, which by the way, you can follow me on Twitter, you can follow me on YouTube, you can follow me on TradingView, you can even follow me for some incredible gym motivational videos on Instagram. It's one word. It is Crypto Bull God. As I had indicated on Twitter today, let's go back to this tweet here. I just indicated basically that one of the things we haven't hit on recently are the traditional markets. And as I've indicated on this channel, crypto is a risk-on asset. And so there is a positive correlation in general, which exists between the stock market and crypto assets. What does a positive correlation means? What does a positive correlation mean? A positive correlation means that the two items that you're comparing, they move in the same direction. It doesn't mean they move positive together. It means they move in the same direction, okay? So as one is going up, the other generally goes up. As one goes down, the other generally goes down, okay? So with that being mindful of that, it's very important to assess the overall health of the stock market. We need to know how the NASDAQ's doing. We need to know how the Dow Jones is doing, okay? Because that's going to be also an indicator in terms of the relative health of investing for the retail investors, so that we know if it's more of a risk-on environment or a risk-off environment. And we want very much a risk-on environment. So we're going to cover several charts, and one of the things I was also being mindful of kind of coming into the live stream is I don't want to regurgitate the same charts every single time I come out here. I'm coming out 5 days a week, right? And if there's not a lot of excitement and not a lot of really exciting things going on and things are just chipping and chopping, Tuesday was the most exciting day that we had when we had that V-shaped recovery. If really nothing monumentally has shifted in the market since Tuesday, there's really only so much I can cover, right, in terms of the same charts we've already spoken to. I need Kathleen in the house to be the enforcer for the thumbs up, because clearly everybody's tuning in and not supporting the channel at the moment, which means this is not going to reach a broader audience, everybody. I need the support. Small channel. It's a small channel right now. Come on. So I don't want to keep hitting on the same charts, right? So I think today's a great opportunity to just take a step back and ask the question, how are traditional markets doing? Because we haven't looked at this all week. And then there'll be as much time afterwards for you guys. You guys can ask me any TA questions. Feel free right now to drop the TA questions into the comments, because I really don't have as much material to cover. So I'm going to get to the traditional markets fairly soon. So feel free. Any crypto projects you'd like me to chart and take a look at, I would be happy to. 786M7, I'm just going to call you WP. Welcome in. Any thoughts or comments on Plan B stock to flow models for Bitcoin? I really just stopped paying attention to him. Funny story about Plan B. So Plan B claims to be a fellow actuary like myself. I'll never understand some people. I really will never understand some people. I'll never understand Plan B, and I'll never understand, and I really could give two shits less at this point, and I'll never understand, what the fuck's that guy's name? Blockchain backer, whatever the hell his name is. There are two guys that I either positively commented in some way at some point years ago, and they just blocked me for some reason. I have no idea why. Plan B, I reached out to him, and I just said, hey, I'm actually a fellow actuary, a fellow FSA, no pun intended, well, pun intended, I'm an FSA. Like, what practice do you do, or what basically, what line of work do you do as an actuary? And he blocked me. So I have no fucking clue. But I don't appreciate people like that. So I don't pay any attention to him. I have no thoughts on his stock to flow model. All right. So let's get into the charts here. You know, the first thing I actually want to do, we've never taken a look at this before. Let's take a look at Coinbase's stock and ask the question of the relative health of Coinbase. This is still relevant to crypto. This is ticker symbol on NASDAQ. This is ticker symbol COIN, coin. Okay. You can see in general, I thought I had this charted out. I drew this before I kind of came into the live stream. Maybe not. You can see in general, there is a downtrend here, right? You can draw this kind of a couple different ways. I might draw it like that, just so you're getting your touches. So we have a general downtrend, and this is kind of looking a little messy. Of course, there isn't a lot of price data here on this chart. This is a 2-day chart. I have several moving averages reflected here. Sorry about the beeps on my mobile. I have some food deliveries coming, and I want to make sure I don't miss anything important if it arrives earlier, actually during the live stream. But anywho, not a lot of strength kind of coming into the chart here. I'm going to take off the 10, so we just focus on the 20 and 50 simple moving average. What I would focus on this chart is for coin. Okay, we do want to see some strength kind of come back into this price here. I want to take out this downward resistance. You can see the downward resistance here. I actually had entertained the idea of opening up my Interactive Brokers account, which I have not. I have an account with them, but not reopening the account, but going into my account and considered purchasing some coin shares because of how low we are. But before I would ever consider that, I would want to assess where it would make sense to buy, because right now there's just a ton of weakness in here. We're sitting at 54. So ultimately, we don't want to break the lows down here. There were some lows created all the way down here at 32 at the beginning of the year. We want to make sure that whatever we're doing, the most important thing is we're formulating higher lows here. As long as we maintain the higher low scenario, we're eventually going to take out the descending resistance. That's the main thing to do. So what I would look for in terms of areas of support, if you want to entertain the idea of getting into coin, which I am, just full transparency, let's talk about some areas of support here. Let's say about $46. $46 looks like an area of support. We're not going to get too cute here. There's really a range. You know, I would call the range right between 46 and 40. I think, you know, my first target area, if I was looking to get into coin here, I would play this range anywhere around 46, roughly 46 to 41 bucks, 41 bucks. That's where I would look to get in. And then obviously, if you want to wait for confirmation of strength to come into Coinbase's stock, what I would suggest, again, never financial advice, I'm just going to tell you based on my own education and knowledge here. I would wait for a break of this line around 85, and if you miss the breakout from 55 all the way up to 80, say 85, you want to make sure that you get a candle body close roughly above 85. Don't buy into that momentum though. You want to wait for a pullback and a back test of an area right around 85. That's how I would play this, okay? So that is ticker symbol COIN. That's Coinbase's stock. Let's fucking go, Josh. Welcome in. Glad to see you. Let's talk about the dollar index. Now, we have not looked at this in a little bit, and we've spoken quite a bit in terms of the significance of how the DXY plays into crypto and how it plays into equity markets. In general, this is a situation, if you'll remember at the top of the live stream, where we actually have the opposite scenario as to what I indicated between the stock market and crypto. Cryptos and stocks, they have a positive correlation. Here, the DXY and equity markets, the DXY and crypto markets, they have an inverse relationship. Okay, they are negatively correlated in general. So as the DXY is expressing strength, like here, we generally see corrections in the markets. As we see a huge run down, okay, typically we have large runs up in crypto and in stocks. And right now we have had a drop, right? Coinciding with a lot of the positive momentum that we've seen in equities and in crypto. We're just sort of chopping around here. Now, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I have a moving average on that we can take off for the moment. Might want to put a 50 on there. Okay. So this actually looks really, really good. So good for us if you want crypto to go up, which everybody does here. Everybody is a bull. Couple things to point out on this chart, and this is something that you want to make sure to pay attention to, okay? So I think I have certain just price areas memorized in my head, so I don't monitor this chart every day. I just, when I go to my watch list here, okay, when I go to my crypto main watch list, I can scroll down here. I just know the Dow, I know the S&P, I know the DXY, I know the key areas to look for, so I don't even need to really pull up the charts. First thing, look at how we're sitting under the 50 simple moving average on the weekly. I would suspect even if we get a bounce up, you see how once we dropped under here, right? We can't get above it. Again, when you're under a moving average, it's going to act as resistance, okay? So even if we get a rise in price, I would suspect a level right around 105, 106. That's going to provide us with an area of resistance. So that's something to watch for. The other thing is I've indicated a key level of relative strength index. Let's take a look at this RSI. Now, when we've been in general above this RSI level around 53, 53 and a half, you can see we've gone, when we were up here, we went on this monumental run. Once we dipped below here, okay, and we can't seem to get it back above it, this is when we were undergoing our correction here. So it'll be also interesting to see on the DXY, do we roughly stay under this 53, 53 and a half area on the RSI? Stochastic RSI has crossed down. That is good for us. It's expressing weakness on the dollar. And the MACD is just kind of going sideways. So good to see, in general, a lot of weakness coming into the DXY. Again, if we do see a bounce, I would strongly suspect, there's also price confluence there, strongly suspect we will get a rejection around the 105 to 106 area. Okay, we're sitting at just over 103 right now. Now, let's get into the bread and butter of the conversation that I really wanted to hit on. I hit on this at the end of last week, okay? This is a very important chart to keep in mind. This is the S&P, okay? And this is on a weekly. We've touched on the importance of the exponential moving average here, the 21 EMA. You can see that price action is above the 21 EMA. And what have I told you guys? 43.25. I have been talking about 43.25 like literally all year. For the past 6 months, I feel like I've been talking about, at least for the past 5 or 6 months, I've been talking about 43.25, okay? And we're hanging out under it, but look what's happening. Momentum is picking up here. If we look at the price indicators, stochastic RSI looks good. RSI is very healthy at 63.5. MACD is moving up, okay? If we can manage to get a nice solid close tomorrow, I would love, okay, we closed out today just under 4,300. Just under 4,300. If we can just, I want to put this, just so you guys know, 43.25 divided by 42, we're going to call it 94. All we need tomorrow is a 0.7%, something less than a full percentage point move in the S&P. If that happens, we're going to be right up against 43.25. And remember, I said, once we get a candle body close on the weekly chart above 43.25, we don't want to get overly exuberant. There's no reason to get overly excited, but do a little shot. Have a little small glass of champagne, because what we're starting to do is we're starting to build the foundations. Not only the higher highs and higher lows are coming in here, but we're also beginning to take out a lot of these key areas. We're starting a lot of these key areas of resistance, which were our lower highs, okay? So once we take out this 43.25, what's happening is it's increasing the likelihood we're going to start coming up here towards 4,600 and take this bad boy out. And once we take out 4,600, we're going to be in a scenario where we're either most likely going to double top up here at 4,800, which I'm not in the camp of, or we're going to create new all-time highs in the S&P, which is literally like what no one has been calling for. On this channel, I have been calling for all-time highs for the S&P to come in. Have I not? Okay? In general, my view is we are going to see some sort of rise up here in price to create new all-time highs, before we then see some sort of plummet in value going into at some point in 2024. That is my current view. So we'll have to see if that pans out. There's certainly enough, as much as I use the charts to kind of tell me what's going on here, and this really is all in the charts, there are enough fundamental macro perspective, macroeconomic things going on in the economy that I can hit on in that fundamental video that I want to get out there. Your banks are lying to you, the Fed's lying to you. There's enough to make me think, and it's also data-driven as well. Some charts that I've evaluated, not personally, but I've seen other people on YouTube whose opinions that I respect, them covering certain charts and the correlations within the economy to suggest that, yes, there are certain charts that are telling us that there's going to be a lot of pain ahead going into 2024. And it's one of the reasons I stress to you guys, not before a blow off top, though, in my opinion. It's why I stressed to you guys, it was a couple weeks ago. I said to you, hey, get your finances in order. Really, if you're living paycheck to paycheck and you're out there and you're having the time of your life and spending money and you have credit card debt, now is not the time to be doing that. You need to make sure your credit card debt is zero. You need to make sure that you have a nice safety pot in the event that you get laid off. Just welcome to the real world. If unemployment rates really do kick up to double digits by next year, which I think is a very real possibility, you have a 10% unemployment rate, 1 out of every 10 people are unemployed, nobody's job is safe. And I'm not trying to instill fear in anyone here. For those listening in the United States, this is not a fear-mongering channel. I'm just being a realist that you can think your job is safe. But again, as an actuary, when I was back during the 2008 and 2009 financial crisis, I saw actuaries get laid off. And actuaries are one of the last people to ever get laid off in any organization. They are sought after because it's such a unique, small job field. It's a very small world, us nerdy actuaries, okay? So it was a pretty rough time 15 years ago. So just my opinion that you want to make sure you have your finances in order. But again, I think going into the end of this year, and even if it bleeds into 2024, I think the stock market is going to set new all-time highs before we get that major correction. This is the Dow Jones. Let's take a look now. This is the Dow Jones Industrial Average. We haven't looked at this in a while. Maybe this is where I was thinking of the descending resistance. This is on a weekly. You can see price action is above the 50 simple moving average, which is great to see. But we have this descending resistance coming in that I'm trying to portray here with this descending line. Really, for me, the key level, now we've talked about the S&P with 43.25. That's the key area that you want to keep in mind for the S&P. The key area that you want to keep in mind for the Dow Jones, I'm looking for this $3,500 area, okay? When you see the Dow Jones starting to push up towards like 35,100, 35,600, rest assured there is a lot of strength coming into the price, or coming into this chart. And once we get up to that $3,500 area, we are increasing the likelihood that we're going to test our all-time highs up here towards 37,000. So that is really the key area that I would watch for on the Dow Jones. When you see the Dow Jones pushing up towards 35,000, we are sitting at just shy of 34, so we're not far away. We're not far away at all. MACD, we do have a positive cross. We're starting to move back up here, which is good to see. RSI is at a healthy level at about 55. Stochastic RSI has a positive cross. So this chart is looking good for a potential break of the descending resistance. There's a little bit of strength and momentum beginning to build that has been building on the Dow Jones. Now, I don't see any crypto TA questions. So the only chart I'm planning on covering, if you guys don't have any questions, I want to take a look at Bitcoin and what's going on here. So the good thing to see here, there's a little bit of chop going on, right? A little bit of chop. But the most important thing is we had this bullish engulfing candle that we talked about, we spoke to. This is really a triple. This is actually a triple bullish engulfing candle on the 12-hour. And on the daily, there's a bullish engulfing candle. And the important thing is, it's not like we came up here and rolled over, right? Just because we had this green Jesus candle come in did not imply that we would just begin shooting up, right? What's going on right now, what do you think I'm going to say? Consolidation. That's all that's going on. And what's healthy to see and what we want, again, I will reiterate this. we want prices to maintain itself around the 200 simple moving average, which is at 27,100, okay? So long as we do that, it's going to allow that 200 to remain relatively flat and have a steady increasing rate, which is good. And also the 50 is going, even though we have a death cross, I'm not overly concerned about this because the 50 is very close to the 200. So long as price remains in this area, I could care less that we had a little cross here, okay? If we start to do this, yes, I told you, I'm concerned about that. Lower highs and lower lows, yes, I would be concerned about that. But we're not showing signs of that. It'll be really interesting to see tomorrow's price action, and furthermore, it'll be very interesting to see how the week closes out. I've indicated that really what we want to see, and I believe this correlates to the 200, let's pull it up real quick. The 200 simple moving average on the weekly, I think the level is, no, I think it's 26,800 actually, but let's take a look at it real quick. So if we look at the weekly, this is really at the end of the day the most important view from a high time frame perspective. Yeah, so it's 26,400. So really the most important thing to watch for, okay, so that you don't lose perspective on what's going on in the markets, 26,400, okay? We'll call it 26,450. We just want to make sure that we close out the week above 26,450. That's all. That's the most important thing, all right? If we can get a close this week above 27,100, that's a bonus, because what that means on the 12 hours, we've regained the 200 simple moving average, and that sets us up next week for further continued, a higher probability for further continued upside price action and a break of this downward resistance that we've spoken about the past few weeks. So that's really all I had prepared in the charts. I don't see any questions. One item that I wanted to share with you guys, and make sure, by the way, make sure that for tomorrow, I see the engagement is fairly limited today, about probably a fifth of what I normally get. It's not very exciting out there right now, I know. One thing to keep in mind for tomorrow's live stream, I will not be live streaming typically as I have on Fridays, okay? I will not be live streaming at 5 p.m., all right? I will be live streaming earlier in the day. I will be unavailable in the evening. So, so just make sure if you're able to join me live, it'll, most likely be around 11 or 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you can join me live, I would love it. We'll assess the charts kind of going into the weekend. But I wanted to leave you with this before we sign off here. I wanted to share something with you. Oh, Kevin, welcome in. No, hey, guys, you don't have to always announce when you come into the live stream. I like to hear from you. Don't feel like you always have to announce that you're here. Like I said, I like hearing from you. But one thing I wanted to leave you with that I really want you to give some thought and consideration to, okay? And that is, I believe perhaps my favorite quote, and I forget exactly where I heard this, but my favorite quote that sticks with me to this day is that failure is not falling, but refusal to get back up. So, and when I've interviewed for jobs and when I've had conversations with people about various things and the topic of failure has come up, I have indicated to people that my view is I've never failed at anything. I've never failed at anything because I've never given up. I've had setbacks. Everybody in life has setbacks, right? But the true test of a man, okay, true test of a woman, I'm not trying to be, okay, let's not get sensitive here. The true test of a man, though, is his resilience, okay? To be humble enough and express humility, and some of this comes with age, in my opinion. I'm a lot different today who I was than even I was 5 or 10 years ago. You need to recognize and learn from your experiences in life. Thank you, Chris. Why do you have a life on a Friday? Well, I'm not going to pretend that I have anything super exciting going on, but hey, yeah. But let's continue the conversation here. So, where I'm going with this is I think that it's very important to acknowledge and recognize at times you're going to stumble, you're going to fall, you're going to have setbacks, right? So I'll give you an example for myself so that you know what I was thinking of that made me think to share this with you. When we were in 2021, and I've hit on this before, when we were in 2021, I was very convicted that the correction that we went through in the summer of 2021 was that wave 4 correction. And as we started to ride back up and we started to break all-time highs, okay? And we were heading towards 70,000. I thought for sure Bitcoin, this was the moment to blow off top, right? And I saw my portfolio go from, a very large amount to a very small amount. And I did a little bit of, the hell is it called? Now I'm losing the term, but I sold and bought back some tokens so that I could take a loss on my taxes. That's actually very beneficial. You can't, is it wash trading? You can't do that on stocks, but you can do that in crypto. The case in point is, it's very important to be able to learn from those experiences. Accept it. You have to accept it. I accepted that a long time ago. You accept it and you move on and you learn from it, right? But you should never look at a time period like that as a failure. It was a setback. It was a setback. And in life, you're going to have many, many setbacks. We're all human. We all mess up, right? But we're also very capable and smart individuals who can learn from our mistakes if we choose to do so. So just very important in life to be very resilient and to be humble and be resilient. There's a lot of strength in that. Men look for that in women, and women look for that in men. So just make sure that you're exercising that moving forward and recognizing that we all fuck up in life, and that's the way it goes sometimes. You got to learn from it. So you got to rise. Ooh, yeah, you got to rise to the top like the cream of the crop. Rise to the top because only the cream of the crop shall rise to the top. Hopefully, there'll be a little bit more engagement tomorrow. I know that the markets are not very exciting right now. Those tuning in are about the fifth of the size of the audience that I typically get. So hopefully we get a little green tomorrow. People are a little bit more excited and we can talk about the markets. But again, I think it's important to keep context in terms of how the overall equity markets are doing, because that really is framing whether it's going to be a risk-on or risk-off asset environment. Okay, and right now, like I said, in the primary view I'm looking at with the S&P, it is increasingly, the probabilities are increasing that it's going to continue to increasingly become a risk-on environment. Okay, so we'll have to see how the NASDAQ does, but I'm very anxious for 43.25 to break. I will be back tomorrow, 11:30. If you can tune in, you can tune in from your home working environment. I would love to see you. Share this video with at least one person, and until next time, spread awareness, and let's all carry the education forward. Take care and have a good evening, guys.